Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is actually a design that I've used before, about 3 years ago when we had a stamp set called Wetlands, and it had little sandpipers. And we made a card, I made a card with my then upline, still upline, Wanda Williams. And I ran across, I was deconstructing old kits that have been sitting around for a long time, trying to get some more organization in my life. And I ran across the kit for this particular card, and it occurred to me that our stamp set from Celebration called By the Bay has these cute little birds in, obviously right on a beach in the water. And I thought, you know, that would work for the way this did before. So I put it together and I'm really very happy with it. It makes a wonderful masculine card. And on the inside, I just put the birds again. So we have the birds on the outside of the card and then again on the inside. Simple little design, yet I think very attractive. And this could be Happy Father's Day. You could turn this into, as this says Happy Birthday, you could turn it into Happy Father's Day with a little different stamping. But I just loved the way it came out. So let's just get started here. I have a black card base at 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded here at 4 1/4. Gonna go ahead and burnish my piece. Then we have a piece of Sahara sand, and this is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 as our layering piece here, and I embossed that using the tin tile embossing folder here. Then we have a piece of white that's the same size, 4 by 5 1/4, for layering on the inside of the card here, so like this. And then we have a piece of black that is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4 for here, and this little piece of white that is 2.5 by 3.5, where we're going to put our message. So the very first thing I did was I took this piece and I set it up to run on my embossing folder here. And what I did was, let's see, I'm going to put this on the black so you might be able to see that detail. And what I did was I centered this, pick a spot on the inside, and I picked a spot so that it's centered from end to end and set it up like this. And this is one of those thick folders, so it only needs your base and one cutting plate. And I've done mine, and it is here. Got something attached to it at the moment. But there is my embossing folder completed. And so once that's done, we can go ahead and just attach that to the front of our card. I think you'll find that this is a super simple, easy card to do, and yet I think it's very attractive. And I think any male in your life would appreciate getting this card, as would a lot of other people. We have some friends that this would be appropriate for a woman as well. So here we go. Our tin tile piece is on there. The next thing we're going to do is do a little work on this piece, and I'm just going to bring in some scratch paper here. And what I'm using to get this effect is I'm using Coastal Cabana here. Let's see, I need to get some ink down on that lid. Well, a little. And these lids are a lot harder to get the ink down. What I found is that if I stand and do it from the back side, and really push down on it. Let's see if that did what I hoped it did here. There we got quite a bit of ink in the lid, which is what I was looking for. And this is an old pad, so I get all the ink I want by just pinching on the pad here. So I've got Sahara sand, and I've got Coastal Cabana, and I have my water brush, and I think I'm trying to think, Frenchie, France Martin calls this kind of a towel. It's actually a bar rag, but she calls it her inky rag. So I've got my inky rag here, and what I'm going to do is just put a tiny bit of water in the Sahara sand and mix that up, and I'm just going to give a little watercolor wash to the top of the card here to simulate the sand on the beach. And you can put as little or as much as you want. It's all just fine. Then I will clean off my brush here, put a few drops in my Coastal Cabana, and do the same thing towards the bottom to give us the eye or the look of the water on the beach. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside to dry for a minute. And let's see, I can put this ink away because the next thing I need is my Momento black ink. So I'm going to take my card piece for the inside, because the only thing we're going to do is stamp the little birds down here on the bottom. And here I've got my birds mounted, and I'm going to make sure they've got plenty of ink on them, and I'm going to set my birds right here on the inside piece for the card. There we go. And then this piece is ready to go on my card. So then I just need my snail here. Okay, and here's the card base that we've started, and I'll put my piece on the inside here, just giving it enough border so that it matches, and there we've got the inside of our card done. So next we have to, this is still a little damp, so I'm going to quiet the video because I don't have time to wait for this to dry, so I'm going to use my heat gun to dry this little piece of cardstock, and I'll be back in a flash. Okay, my piece is dry, and this is just regular cardstock, not even the thick, so it worked pretty good. So suppose I could do this in a little piece of watercolor paper. That would be good. All right, we can fix that a little bit by putting lots of glue on the back and sticking it down to the backing piece that we've set aside here. I'm going to make sure my corners and my edges are really well glued. Now I've got my piece of black here, and I am going to center that right on my piece of black. Then I'm going to go back to my birds here, and I'm going to put my little birds down here on the, right on the edge here of where it would have been the water. And there we go, I've got my birds. And the last piece I need is my happy birthday. And I have a little happy birthday here. And this comes from the stamp set called Botanical Bliss. And I like this happy birthday because it has kind of a small profile here. And I wanted to put it on the same piece that I did here. So I'm going to try to get this on here straight. If you're at all worried about this, you can always do this on your Stamparatus. And there we've got our happy birthday. So now that is all there is to this card. It's so simple, and yet I think it's very, very attractive. So this is going to get centered here, and I'm going to raise that up on dimensionals. Well, I've got some dimensional edges, if nothing else. So I'm going to set up my bones here to put on the edge of my card. And I think I really do. I have a little tiny one I can put in the middle. And there we go. So I'm just going to remove the backing paper and set this down, and the card will be finished. So there we go. We haven't done just a masculine card in a while, and so I thought this one would work just beautifully and give us an opportunity to use that beautiful stamp set in celebration. So there we go. That is the project for today. A nice, simple, but I think pretty attractive little card here with the happy birthday and the little birds, and then again the birds on the inside of the card. And that is, like I said, that is the card and the project. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. You can get this stamp set by placing a $50 order with your own demonstrator or with me, and then you can select this By the Bay stamp set, which is just as pretty as it can be. It's got a little rocky crag. It's got this house on a seawall. And there's some interesting things I think you can do with this as well. And it says, "May all your paths lead to happiness, thinking of you and thank you." It's a lovely set. So, and you can select that for free with a $50 order. So, let's see, the join order right now with Stampin' Up! Is $175 worth of product for $99, and your first minimum doesn't have to be met until the end of June. My telephone number is always listed just below the video, and I'd be happy to just chat with you about it and see if joining Stampin' Up! Makes any sense for you. So thanks again, and I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!